Hello friends, in today's video we're going to be working on this Ford Focus. This is a 2010 model Ford Focus and the engine size is 1.6. What we're going to do is we're going to change the water pump on this car. That's because the old water pump is leaking. So basically it's leaking from where the pulley bearing is, just there, and the pulley itself is shaking as well. So what I've done so far is that I've taken the wheel off, and what we're gonna do next is that we're gonna remove the wheel arch liner so that we can release the auxiliary belt. Right, so in order to remove the wheel arch liner, we're gonna remove a couple of bolts. So this is the 30 bolt here, we're gonna remove. That's one. There's one here. Right, so there are a couple of bolts under here. One here. Right, got 8mm bolt here, which we're gonna remove. There we go. There we go. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna pull the wheel arch liner out in this manner. We're gonna rest it here. Right, next we're gonna remove the expansion tank bottle. So we're gonna undo these clips. So just gonna move them down. And then the big clip at the bottom. There we go. There we go. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull the bottle out towards us. So just gonna insert this tool here to free the clip. Do the same on this side. There we go. So just gonna free the pipe in this manner. Here we go. Fully removed. Remove the engine mount from here. So before we undo the engine mount, we're gonna support the engine with trolley jack. Right, so we're gonna support the engine from the bottom with the trolley jack like this. That's perfect. Right, so what we're gonna do here is that we're gonna use a 15mm socket to remove the two bolts which are connecting the engine mount to the body. One at the back. There you go. That's the bolt at the back removed. That's the bolt at the front. And now we're going to remove these two bolts. For these nuts here, we're going to be using our 18mm socket. So the whole stud has come out. And in here is just the nut which came out. We can pull the engine mount out. Right, we go. Now we've got the full access to the water pump. Just gonna show you the movement here. So this is the reason why the water pump is leaking. That's see the movement in the pulley. So that's to do with the worn out bearings inside the water pump. Right, so next what we're gonna do is we're gonna undo the pulley. So just gonna use this tool here to undo the 4 10mm bolts. Right, so just gonna remove these 4 10mm bolts from it. This is how they look. There we go. Right, there we go. So that's all 4 bolts fully removed. We can pull the pulley out. Okay, so that's the pulley removed. Just gonna show you the condition of the belt. Doesn't look good. I can't take the auxiliary belt off because the aircon belt is in the way, but that's okay. So just gonna show you the damage. See the movement here? So this is why the water pump is leaking water. See the movement here? Right, here's our new water pump. Just gonna get it out of the box. Comes with a gasket. And the water pump itself. So we'll be fitting the existing pulley back onto the water pump with 4 bolts. Right, so next what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove the aircon belt here, and for that what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull the belt towards us and we're gonna turn the crank, and that should release the belt. Right, so next what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove the alternator pulley and the clamp here for the alternator and for the engine mount. So for that what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove the power steering pump bottle. There we go. So just gonna pull the bottle and we're gonna put it to the side. Then we're gonna disconnect this clip here holding the coolant pipe like this. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove this bolt and this nut here. They are 15mm nut and bolt. And also what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove this bolt here at the bottom. Again, that is a 15mm bolt. So there are 3 bolts securing the alternator. Itself. We're gonna completely remove the bolt at the bottom. Next we're gonna undo this bolt here. So basically what we need to do is we need to remove this clamp here. That's why we're doing all this. There we go. Then it's this nut here. That's the nut out of the way. So next what we're going to do is we're going to remove this stud here. So we'll be using E8 socket to undo this stud here. There we go. Then we're going to remove this clamp here. So this clamp is secured by a couple of bolts. One here, two here. So we're going to use a 13mm socket for that. There we go. That's two bolts removed from that, and one here. Just gonna use extension for that. There we go. Right, for this bolt here, we're gonna use a spanner. So that's the clamp out of the way. So next what we're going to do is we're going to remove the cam belt from here. So the way we're going to remove the cam belt is we're going to undo the bolt here to release the tensioner. So before we remove the cam belt, we're going to do markings here, like this, then here as well. I'll make sure that the car is in parking mode here as well. The actual water pump casing is going under the tensioner. That's why we have to remove the tensioner as well. So what I've done here is that I put the car in parking mode, and also I've put the markings here for the pulleys so that they don't move. Right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to release the tension on the tensioner in this manner. And we're gonna free the cam belt from it. We're just gonna release the tension. Right, I've done the markings here on the cam belt pulleys, this one and that one here. So that's what we need to line up to once we are done with the water pump. So next what we're going to do is we're going to undo these 10mm bolts. There you go. That's how they look. And there's one bolt on this side. There's one more bolt at the bottom. There we go. So that's the old pump out of the way. Bit of omission there. So this is the reason why it's been leaking. So basically the bearing got worn out, and that's what caused the leak. Right we go friends, I apologize for not covering the bit where I'm fitting the new water pump. So basically what I did here is that as you can see the markings on the cam belt and the pulleys. So basically what I did is I lifted this lever up and released the tension. So after releasing the tension I removed the belt, and then with a 13mm spanner I removed the tensioner, and then I fitted the tensioner in the same manner the way it gets fitted after fitting the water pump. So the water pump, what I did is I used the gasket which was provided, as well as a thin layer of RTV silicone, as you can see from the top here. Let me just focus it, where I've applied the silicone, a very thin coating. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna put the rest of the components back onto the car, but I just wanted to mention to you the way I lined up the cam belt. Yes, there was water going on to the cam belt, but what I did is as it was just pure water, there wasn't any oil or coolant involved in it, so it was just a pure water coming out of water pump, because the car's been leaking water for ages, and we were just topping it up with pure water. So what I did is I made sure that I dry the cam belt fully before I fit it back on. So that shouldn't be a problem, because it's just water. Once the cam belt is fully dried, bone dry, it's not gonna do any damage. If it was oil or the coolant itself, then I would have replaced the belt as well. So the belt looks okay, so we're not gonna change the belt. So now we're gonna fit all the components back onto the car. So basically here, this tensioner bolt is one of the bolt securing the water pump. So there is no way you can remove the water pump or change the water pump without removing the tensioner bolt here and the tensioner. Okay, so that bolt, the tensioner bolt here, let me just show you, is this slot here. So that tensioner bolt goes into this slot here. So this is the demonstration from the old faulty water pump. As you can see, this water pump is fitted with the gasket as well as RTV silicone. It's gonna show you 1 2 3 4 5 6 normal bolts, and this slot here is for the tensioner bolt, and this slot here is for the cam belt plastic cover bolt. Okay, so that was that. I hope I've explained it in a better manner. Again, I apologize that I couldn't cover the bit where I fit the tensioner, but tensioner is pretty much basic tensioner fitment. So basically is this lever here. So what you do is you bring it up here and slide a pin. Okay, so slide a pin here, and that should lock the tensioner in place for you to slide the cam back onto the engine. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to fit this alternator clamp as well as the engine mount clamp. So this engine mount clamp gets secured with 4 13mm bolts. Then 1 down here on the side. By the time we fit all the components back, the silicone be fully cured, fully dried. So just gonna tighten these bolts for the clamp. There we go. Perfect. And then 2 bolts on the side. There we go. Perfect. One here. Perfect. Right, so that's the bolts on the side fully screwed. There's this bolt at the bottom, which we're gonna tighten it with the spanner because we can't get our ratchet over there. If that's fully secured, we're gonna fit the cam belt cover back onto the car. Ideally, water pump and the cam belt should get changed at the same time. There's one extra long bolt which goes here at the top. The rest of the bolts are all same size. Right, so just gonna tighten these 8mm bolts. Perfect. There's one bolt here, and then 2 bolts at the bottom. They're a very tricky place. Right, there we go. So that's the bolt at the bottom, fully screwed. One on this side. Right, there we go. That's the cam belt cover fully secured. Next, we're gonna fit the pulley. So the easiest way to fit the pulley is that apply a little bit silicone here. It's just to hold the pulley in place, otherwise it's not gonna hold on to the water pump. It's gonna fit the second bolt, third bolt, and the fourth. It's gonna rotate it, and here we go. So that's the fourth bolt in place. Now we're gonna tighten these bolts. So we're gonna do the final torque once the belt is on. So at the moment we're just gonna make sure that they are holding all nicely. Right, so next what we're gonna do is we're gonna slide in the belt. So here is our old belt and here is our new. Just gonna match the size. There we go. So just gonna slide it in while we got the alternator loose. Right, I've slided it over onto the crank pulley. Then it goes under and it goes on to the pulley here. Like this, and then on to the alternator pulley. There we go. Right, just gonna show you from the close-up. So the crank pulley, the inner one, then the pulley at the bottom, this one, then the alternator pulley, and the water pump pulley here. Okay, so now what we can do is we can secure the alternator, and that alternator bolts, once we secure them, that's gonna put the tension right on the belt. Right, so the way we're gonna line up the holes is we're gonna use a spanner, just gonna slide it in here in this manner. Now we can go ahead and tighten these 10mm bolts on the water pump pulley. You can tighten them further. Perfect. And this one here. Perfect. So that's the water pump pulley fully secured now. Right, so here what we're gonna do is we're gonna fit the aircon belt. So the way we're gonna fit it is like this, because it's a stretchable belt. So just gonna bring in from the top like this. There we go. So we're just gonna place it in here in this manner, and then we're gonna turn the crank with the spanner, and that should slide on the belt. There we go. Perfect. So that's the belt, nicely slided onto the pulleys. Now, as you can see, the belts are fully home, both of them. The new one is the inner one. The way the water pump pulley was wobbling, that destroyed the belt, the old inner belt. So that's why we got the new belt here. Alright, so next we're gonna fit the engine mount. So just gonna bring in the engine mount here in this manner. And that goes here. The stud goes here. Then is the two bolts one at the front of the car, one at the back. Right, so just gonna torque up the top nut. There we go. Then it's the stud at the back. There we go. So just gonna secure the bottom bolts now. So before we tighten these bolts, we're gonna release the jack so that the engine can go back to its normal position, because we were supporting the engine with the trolley jack underneath. So now we can go ahead and tighten these bolts. There we go. And then the back one. There we go. So that's the engine mount fully secured. Next is the expansion tank. So just gonna fit the bottom pipe to start with. And then bring in the clip here, that is. And I'm gonna release it. Then the two pipes. Okay. One gets slided here. And this one. The other gets slided here. In this manner. Again, we're gonna bring in the clips. There we go. Then this clip here. There we go. So just gonna push the expansion tank bottle into these clips. There we go. Right, so next what we're gonna do is we're gonna fill the expansion tank up with coolant. What we're going to do is we're going to start the engine and turn the heater on at full blast so that the water can circulate, and if there are any bubbles they can escape from the expansion tank bottle cap. So we're going to leave the cap off. Right, here we go, friends. We've started the engine up, all running fine. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna keep filling the coolant till it's completely full, and we still need to fit the V-latch liner back on. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna leave the engine running and we're gonna assess any coolant leak. It seems fine. Can't see any leak. Same here, underneath. It's all bone dry. Right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to put the V-latch liner back onto the car. So just going to bring it in this manner. And we're going to secure the screws. So one bolt goes there. like this. So one bolt goes here. There we go. So that's all these bolts fully secured. There we go. One bolt goes here. There we go. Right, here we go, friends. Job done. I hope you find my video helpful. Thank you very much for watching the video.